So we're reading from the introduction of the book of Zohar, the 8th commandment, item 228. The 8th commandment is to love the stranger who comes to be circumcised and be under the wings of divinity. She, Malchut, lets under her wings all those who separate themselves from the other, impure side, and draw near her. As it is written, let the earth bring forth living souls after its kind. The issue of the wings of divinity is a long and profound matter, but I will clarify it as needed to understand the words below. Malchut, the Nukva of Zeranpin, is called divinity with regard to the disclosure. That is, she does not depart us, even when we are very far from her. As we learn, in every place where they are exiled, divinity is with them. And as it is written, who dwells with them in the midst of their impurity. In that respect, Zeranpin is also called Shochen, dweller, in masculine form, and the Nukva Shechina, divinity in feminine form. This disclosure is present only when Zon are face to face on an equal level, since then the illumination of the coupling is very great until the unification appears in even the most remote and restricted places. Also, it is known that the structure of the Gadlut of Zon does not come at once. Rather, first the Katnut of Zon is built in Mochin of Vak. Then the Gadlut is extended. This applies to all the degrees of Zon. Moreover, even when Zon have Mochin of Gadlut, the Mochin of Katnut are not cancelled, because they too need to assist the coupling of Mochin of Gadlut. At that time they are called the wings of divinity. It is written, and the cherubim shall spread out their wings upward, covering the ark with their wings. Their primary task is to spread their wings and cover the illumination of the coupling of Gadlut, so that even the most remote will be able to receive the light of the coupling without anything reaching the shells through it. It is so because those who are not in complete purity are always repelled from the light of Kedusha, holiness, or fear that they will transfer the abundance to the shells. However, now, through the covering of the wings, there is careful guarding of the abundance until even the ones nearest to the shells cannot fail and bring down the abundance to the shells, because the wings protect them. Therefore, one who comes to convert and be circumcised, since his body comes from the foreskin, whose fathers did not stand by Mount Sinai, and the filth of the serpent did not cease from them, we still have the power to raise him to upper Kedusha by raising Man for the great coupling of Zon face to face. Where the wings of divinity govern, spreading their wings and covering the light of the coupling. Then we can raise the soul of the proselytes to there as well, and he is sanctified by the light of that coupling. And even though he is not completely pure, At that time, he can receive from the illumination of the coupling because the wings protect him so the abundance will not be transferred to the shells, although he is near them. It was said, under the wings of the Shekhinah, because they can receive only from the light of Malchut, and only from her wings, the externality of Malchut, but not from the body of the Shekhinah, much less from Zaranpin himself. Malchut brings them under her wings. We could ask about it previously being said that coming under the wings of the Shekhinah means that we must raise the proselyte to be under the wings of the Shekhinah. While here, he says that she lets under her wings. This would mean that divinity herself brings them up to her. The thing is that it is possible to bring the soul of the proselyte closer only through a coupling of Gadlut. For only then are the wings of the Shekhinah covering the illumination of the coupling. Thus, first we must raise Man to evoke this coupling of Gadlut and extend illumination of the coupling for our soul. And then divinity spreads her wings and covers the light of the coupling, bringing the soul of the proselyte under her wings. It follows that first we elevate the soul of the proselyte through our Man, and once he has risen, the Shekhinah receives him under her wings.
Item 229. It cannot be said that this living soul that is included in Israel is meant for all. Rather, it is, as written, living souls after its kind to Israel and not the proselytes. This earth which is called living, Chaya means living as well as animal, has several corridors and rooms, one inside the other, under its wings. Commentary. It is possible to raise the soul of the proselyte only when we raise Man for coupling of Gadlut and draw upon ourselves the illumination of Neshama from that coupling. At that time, there is the spreading of the wings of the Shekhinah, to which the soul of the proselyte rises, and he, too, receives from the light of the coupling. For that reason, it cannot be said that this living soul that is included in Israel is meant for all. Perhaps you could say that the proselyte too receives from that light of coupling of living soul that Israel drew for the illumination of their souls. However, as it is written, living soul after its kind, meaning that the proselytes receive from the illumination of the coupling that which belongs to their kind, only from the externality of the coupling, and not from the internality, which belongs only to Israel. The wings are vak from the time of Katnut, which operate during the coupling of Gadlut as well, for covering the light of the coupling. There are Chagat Nehi in Vak. Chagat are called rooms to dwell in. Nehi are called corridors, a gate, and entrance to the rooms, but they are not to be dwelled in themselves, for they serve only as entrance and exit. This is so because the essence of Hagat is Tiferet, their middle line, which is a complete vessel and a receptacle for the light of Chasadim. The essence of Nahi is Yesod, the middle line, in which there is no receptacle for itself, in and of itself, and it serves as a way to pass through and raise reflected light. This is why the Nahi are called corridors. The earth, which is called animal, has several corridors and rooms, one inside the other, under its wings. Because she must bring under her wings proselytes from 17 nations. Therefore, several rooms are ready for them in Hagat of the wings, and several corridors in the Nahi of the wings. They receive Nefesh from the corridors and Ruach from the rooms. Item 230. There are two corridors in the right-hand side wing of Malchut, which divide from this wing into two other nations which are close to Israel in unification to bring them into these corridors. Under the left wing are two other corridors which divide into two other nations, Ammon and Moab. And they are all called living soul. Previously it was said that there are several corridors, and here it is said that there are only two on the right and two on the left. The thing is that here it is only about the inclusive ones, meaning that there are two inclusive corridors on the right for the nations that belong to the right, and there are two inclusive corridors on the left for the nations that belong to the left. The two nations on the right include all the nations on the right that relate to the two general corridors on the right wing. But the Zohar does not explain which they are. The two nations on the left include all the nations on the left, which are Ammon and Moab, and relate to the two general corridors on the left wing. All of them are called a living soul. All the souls of the proselytes that come from all the nations are called living souls. This is because they receive only from the coupling of Gadlut of Zon, when Zon are in the place of upper Abba Ve'ima. Then Malchut is called a living soul because there is light of Abba Ve'ima in her, which is light of Chaya. And since the souls of the proselytes receive from the wings of the living soul, they are called living souls as well. 231. Several other closed rooms and other halls are in each wing. Spirits come out of them to be dispensed to all those converting proselytes. They are called living souls, but after its kind. They all enter under the wings of the Shekhinah, but no further. This is so because each wing consists of Vak Chagat Nehi, which are called rooms and corridors. Each nation has its own room in Chagat and its own corridor in Nehi. Each receives nefesh from the corridors, and each receives ruach from the rooms. The rooms are closed because Chagat of Bak are covered chasadim, blocked from illumination of Chokhmah. 232. But the neshama, or soul, of Israel comes out from the body of the tree, Zeranpin, from which souls fly into the earth, Malchut, to its intestines, deep within. As it is written, for you shall be a delightful land. Hence, Israel is a delightful son, and her heart goes out to him. They are called that are born from the gut, and not from the wings outside the body. Proselytes have no part in the upper tree, Zeranpin, much less his body. Rather, their share is in Malchut's wings and no further. The proselyte is under the wings of the Shekhinah and no further. Proselytes of justice are those who are present there and grip there, but not inside. This is why it is written, let the earth bring forth living souls after its kind. To whom? Cattle and creeping things and beasts of the earth after its kind. All suckle the living soul from that animal, but each by its kind, as befits it. Zeranpin is called a tree, the tree of life. And Nukva is called the land of the living. At the time of Gadlut, when they clove upper Abba Ve'ima, Mochin of Chaya. The neshama of Israel comes out of the body of the tree, from the insides of Zeranpin, and from there souls fly into earth, Malchut, to its insides, deep within. Through a coupling of a tree, Zeranpin, in the land of the living, the Nukva, Zeranpin gives the souls of Israel to the Nukva, to its very insides, and from here Israel receive their souls. But not as proselytes, receiving only from the Nukva, and only from the externality of the Nukva, from her wings, not from the very inside, meaning the deepest part. This is so because the Nukva has 3 partsufim clothed in one another. Ibur, Yenika, Mochin. Partsuf Mochin is clothed in Partsuf Yenika, and Partsuf Yenika is clothed inside Partsuf Ibur. He made a precision that Israel receive from the very inside of the Nukva, from Partsuf Mochin. This is why Israel are called a delightful son to whom her heart goes out. They are also called born from the gut and not from the wings, which are her externality. Commentary: the Nehi of the Nukva are called gut, because there is the place of Ibur, conception, and raising of the souls of Israel. Yet this does not relate to the Nehi of the 2 external partsufim, Ibur and Yenika, the wings, but to Nehi of Partsuf Mochin, the intestines. As it is written, "My dear son Ephraim, is he a delightful child? For whenever I speak of him, I certainly still remember him. Therefore my heart goes out to him." Or in Hebrew, guts. Since the souls of Israel are from the internality of Malchut, who is called intestines, it is written, "My heart," or "my gut," goes out to him. This is why he calls them born from the gut, the Nehi of Partzuf Mochin, and not from the wings, which are outside the body, and not from Nehi of the other external Partzufim, which are the wings. It is said that the proselytes have no share in the upper tree, Zeranpin, much less in his body. Rather, their share is only the wings, and no further, under the wings of the Shekhinah, and no further. This is why they are called proselytes of justice, since the Shekhinah is called justice. They dwell under her wings, uniting with her, and they have no part from above, from the Shekhinah. This is why it is written, "Let the earth bring forth living souls after its kind," to whom cattle and creeping things and beasts of the earth after its kind. Anyone who has a soul from a cattle and creeping things and beasts of the earth receives her only from the nefesh of Chaya, which is Malchut, in coupling of Gadlut, face to face with Zeranpin. Hence, each is to its kind, as befits it, only from the wings, and not from the insides of the illumination of this great coupling.